All right. So welcome everybody to our first assembly meeting for GSA this semester. I am so happy with this turnout in front of us. Of course, you know, last year we were completely virtual. So it's so awesome and much more rewarding for us to see all of you in front of us instead of just on the screen. So those people that we met last year, we're really excited to get to know you in person. And of course, still excited to have our virtual people attending with us today. Does anybody else need this up still? Okay. Lagging a little bit. So I just wanted to welcome you all. I want to do a really quick poll just by raising hands, and people online, if you could use your virtual hands, we can count you that way as well. So just to have a feel of the room, raise your hand if you're a brand new senator this year. Have a look around. Great question. We are going to cover a little bit more of the roles in GSA later on during this meeting, but every department is allowed 2 senators and 1 alternative. A senator is that representation of the department. Every single graduate student at UNCG is welcome to come to these meetings. We encourage you to come to this meeting. We're very glad that you're here. However, a senator is that representation of the department that they're required to come. So the department has to have representation to get GSA funding. If you're not positive if you have a senator in your department or not, you can chat with Alexander at the end of the meeting. He can let you know. But yeah, you want to make sure that your department is represented if you're not the senator. Otherwise, you cannot apply for funding, and we'll get to that a little bit more later on. Okay, any initial questions? Anything else? Okay, so we always go over the agenda before we start the meeting. So you guys got the agenda sent to you, and then I just like a little quick refresher. We're going to have a welcome message from Nagla, presentations from Alexander and Claire for student relations and the budget. Then we have a special guest today. She's attending virtually. Her name is Rose Ewald. She will be giving a very important presentation called Removing Barriers to Success. And then we will talk about programs, which is me, committee appointments that you can sign up for, which you'll be getting a sign up list after this meeting, probably tomorrow. Nagla is going to talk to you about that. And then I will talk about senator responsibilities. So those of you that missed the senator meeting last week, that was unfortunately not recorded, but I am going to go over just what those responsibilities are again in brief. And then if you have any questions, the e-board will be here until 5:30 after the meeting. Okay, so with introductions, Nagla, you want to start us off? You are
welcome.
The president.
I love to welcome. How are you? It's so great being here and seeing all of you. But I have to stand here. Is this a good spot here? I'm okay. Yes. Good. Thank you, Charity. How are you? It's a pleasure seeing all of you. It is my honor to serve you as GSA president for the 2nd year with an amazing e-board. It was such a wonderful year with the coming and returning senators like Clove, Her Majesty, and Abby Thomas or Abby Salah now. I worked with great people last year, and this year seems to be more wonderful or the best year ever. So welcome. I talked to Lexi and I said, I need to share with them my vision for this year. Because last year, I really wanted us to create a community where we support each other. Because the pandemic is very hard, very, very hard on us all, specifically graduate students. You know why, Cristal, graduate students? No, you know, because graduate students like Cristal, our professionals, our GAs, our moms, our dads. We take care of parents. We work full time. We work part-time. So we have a lot on our plate. And the pandemic is very hard on everybody. And Dr. Bell told me when I came to GSA, Nagla, creating a sense of community among graduate students is a priority. And I said, Dr. Bell, this was my vision for the first year. And I will continue with this vision this year. We want our graduate student community to continue growing. We want you guys to know that all the e-board members and our advisors, Dr. Bell and Dr. Craig, are here for you, are here to work with you, are here to bring resources for you, and also support. I love talking to people. Lexi is our execution person. She's amazing. but whenever you talk with her, a lot of resources, a lot of support. Alex, he seems quiet, but he's such a wonderful person to know. Dr. Bill is amazing. I'm sorry, I invite you all to come talk to us because we really love and care about you. We are here to be together. Don't hesitate to come talk with us. But not only talk, bring your talent. You are a talented nanoscience. Please bring your research area of interest. Bring your talent in presentation, in a training, or a cultural background. Ahmed, I come from Egypt. I wish to talk with you one day about Egypt. Why not? Ahmed can talk about Bangladesh. Lexi can talk about North Dakota. Why not? Let's make our... I wish that our community would be a community of support, but also fun. What's hard about the pandemic? We never had fun. We forgot to smile, but we need to smile. We need a break. We need self-care. We need each other, and we are here for you guys. So my vision for this year is to continue building the community, but not only building the community, it is your year. I told the e-board this year is the year to empower graduate students and show their impact on UNCG campus. You are researchers, you are presenters, you are talented, coming from every part of the globe. I want you through Come Talk with GSA to present about your research area, about your recipe, Miss Claire, or about the team that you are taking care of, or Love, she's doing a great research about water quality in poor neighborhood, or Reem from political sciences and doing nonprofit management certificate. Be ready, Reem, to come present, please. So this year is your year. Bring your impact, your power, your beauty. Anything and everything about you will be unique and we will celebrate it. So this is the year for us to be a community, to have fun, to bring you resources, and also to empower you, share your impact, and say, graduate students are the best because you are the best. Welcome to a great year. I hope, guys, we go strong. We are here for you. We are here to work with you. I wish you all the best. And I'm here. The e-board is here. Dr. Bill and Dr. Craig are here. So please benefit from us. We are here for you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So a real quick explanation on e-board. That means executive board, right? There are 4 of us. Nagla is the president. I'm the vice president. Claire is our treasurer, and Alexander is our student relations person. So really quick, I'm Lexi. If you didn't know me from last year, as Nagla said, I'm from North Dakota. I'm a 4th-year PhD candidate in the biology department here at UNCG, and I am just very excited to be in person this year. I'm very excited to see all of your faces. Alex, you want to go next since you're up here?
Should I just go to the slides?
Oh, just an introduction.
You sure? That was a very long introduction.
Yeah, of course.
Nagla says I'm quiet, but it's only because I have to follow her all the time. So it's hard to live up to those expectations. My name is Alexander. I'm a 3rd-year PhD student in the Department of Nanoscience. We're really far off campus, but I'm happy to be back on main campus. I'm born and raised in Western North Carolina, and I'm excited to be in Greensboro. It's nice to be on campus. Okay.
I'm Claire. I was the invisible one. I am from the Department of Kinesiology. I am a 2nd-year PhD student, and I am the one that handles the money.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Bell, Dr. Craig is going to introduce herself later. She got tied into another meeting today.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, wherever they come. Oh, hey, okay. So it's great to see you all. I'm Greg Bell, he and his Associate Dean of the Graduate School and Professor of Mathematics. This is my 16th year at UNCG, so I feel like I've been here for a long time. But I'm here as a representative of the graduate school in the capacity of one of the advisors. So the graduate school is it's hard to follow Nagla. I don't know what to say. I can't say anything. But the graduate school is here to provide all of those things that the department can't provide for you. So the GSA is here to provide a sense of community. You become experts in your discipline in the departments working with your faculty members. But the rest of the services of UNCG are for you, just like they're for all students. And so GSA has done a wonderful job over the past few years of highlighting graduate students on campus, bringing them to the fore, showing that you guys are here, you all are here, you're important, and UNCG is for all of you as well. So if you need me, I'm in the Mossman building, which is the building across the street that looks like a World War II bunker with very narrow windows. I'm up there on the second floor. Please come by, say hello. People don't always come by and just say hello. So, they always come by when there's some problem, but I'm happy to see you then, not happy, but I'm happy to help you then. But, I'd also just love to get to know you all. So stop by and say hello sometime.
It's mostly 270.
270.
Is the office. It's good to know where the graduate school office is. So that's a lot of great resources in that office as well. Okay, Nagla, now you have your welcome. Did you want to talk about anything else on the slides?
I forgot to say who I am because I was so excited, Lexi, my apologies. So my name is Nagla. I know it's a difficult name, being you are from the Middle East like myself. So I am now having the honor to be in public health education. I have just started my PhD. I graduated with my master's. He hired me. The CNNC hired me as a full-time program coordinator for immigrants and refugees in Greensboro. So whenever guys you are interested to know about health access for immigrants and refugees, I'm here for you. Thank you.
All right.
I was ready to jump in. Okay, so my name is Alex Grindstaff, Student Relations Chair. This is my presentation. So one of the first things that I did last year as a senator for the Department of Nanoscience was I worked on the faculty senate with our president Nagla. So basically we were two non-voting members on the faculty senate advocating for all graduate students. And so sometimes, if only one of us was there asking questions, it's like, they were sort of this echo chamber of faculty concerns. And I was like, hey, we're pre-faculty, pre-staff here at UNC Greensboro in this broader community. Some of these decisions that you'll make for the next 10, 15 years will impact us if we decide to stay here. Are you considering that? What decisions are you making to help us grow into future faculty members or not? So in that, I am looking for volunteers. Come on in. So if you're interested in maybe advocating for graduate students on the faculty level, we're looking for people, and I'll get into this in a second, but we're looking for people to be on the faculty senate long-term. So kind of building that institutional memory. But if you're interested, please contact me. We do need more help. So I chair the Student Engagement Committee for GSA. We work with university-wide committees. This is something I would like to do with a committee. So sort of just, how do we GSA advocate for everyone? There's a number of committees we'll discuss later, but I want the committee to sort of take this proactive role. Sit wherever you like. To sort of take each of these university committees working together. What do you need? So, what do we need outside of the sense of community, but then a sense of advocacy? So some of the members that I will talk to later, but if you're working with the Graduate Council, I would love for you to work with this committee. Members of graduate members of the SGA, ASG, which does anyone here know what ASG is? You do know what it is? Okay. Yes. Yeah. So the whole UNC school system, all the universities for North Carolina, there's an association of student governments. So different students from all across North Carolina meet together. So that is an advocacy group for all students in the public school system for North Carolina. So we have, is Megan D'Amico? She's not there. Okay, well, we had someone from UNCG, Megan D'Amico, who knows in the chat. Hi, Megan. She sat on there and advocated for UNC Greensboro, but this is just another venue for graduate students. And the Sustainability Committee, we want to have a presence on all of these committees to speak for all graduate students. But basically what the committee I want to do is just sort of answer these questions. What do we need? What do you all need? And how can we advocate for those? So healthcare, funding, housing, representation, whatever you can think of that you need to sort of enhance your experience as graduate students. That's what I want this committee to do this year. And then on that, how do we keep that going? So that every session of GSA, we're not reinventing the wheel. So, what do we need this year? What are some of the long-term needs? And some of the things I learned in the past was like, pick 3 things, because we can't, tick off every single one of these boxes. But if we pick 3 things, I think we as an organization can have an impact. So, let's talk, chat, get together. So I'll pass it along. And if you have any questions or like want to sit on this committee, work on some of these things, reach out, pester me with emails.
At the end of today, you'll see a list of all of the committees that you can join, including university-wide committees. Each Alexander, Claire, and myself are going to be talking about our own GSA committees throughout today, and then you'll get that list to sign up probably tomorrow. Like I said, you'll get that survey. So just be thinking about which one you might be interested in as we talk.
Okay, so my name is Claire Newman. I am the treasurer, as I said before, and I'm she, her, hers, since I did not say that before. These are the questions that you're going to get asked the most from your department. Okay, so if you're a senator, this is probably where most people are going to ask you questions about. It is the funding window for this year. So we always have a fall funding application and a spring funding application. For the fall, our application window opens October 15th, 2021, and then closes October 29th. We have a meeting as Senate on October 14th. So this is very intentional that after that meeting, you'll have all these details that you can go back to your department and say specifically what they need to know. But all the information is also on our website, okay? So we have 2 possible funds. The first one is an RCF, which is the Research Capstone Fund. I will talk about these more in a second. And then we also have the Professional Development Fund. Essentially what we're going to do is we are going to fund these people, whoever applies, $300 to the first 40 students who apply for the RCF and $200 for the first 40 people that apply for the PDF. You should note that it's not by people, but amount of money we have, right? So for example, if every student only got $100 for the PDF, then we could fund 80 students. Does that make sense? Okay. So Professional Development Fund. Essentially, sadly, COVID is still limiting our ability to fund things right now. It's a hard reality, but please do not blame the executive board or our advisors, because I have no say in this. We have no say in this. This is coming exactly up from above in the campus activity and programs organization. So we cannot fund travel. All right, this year we cannot fund travel for at least for the fall. I do not see that changing, at least for the fall, maybe in the spring, okay? So therefore, we are only funding virtual conference registration. The good thing is that being a presenter is not required. So in the past, you used to have to be a presenter at these presentations. Right now, we are not going to require you to be a presenter. We will just cover virtual conference fees, okay? Essentially, what you will need is you'll need a letter of support from your faculty advisor. You'll need a receipt of the conference. That's where kind of we'll sneak in there and make sure it's a virtual conference, okay? So for some of those that are like, maybe a little like, hey, we'll just sneak it under the thing, we have to have an itemized receipt, okay? So we will see if it's not a virtual conference. Then we need proof of attendance. So basically, if you get like an email or something that just says your schedule, this is a Zoom link, anything like that. And then international students, I know that you probably have dealt with this before, but you need a little bit more to our form. So your NRA 001, NRA 002, or I-55, okay? This last thing is something we touched on earlier, but if your department is not represented, meaning that your department does not have a senator, it is in our bylaws that we cannot fund you, okay? So if you want to check at the end, if Alex, you can check with Alex, he knows all the senators from all the departments. If you want to make sure that your department has a senator, that is key, okay? Awesome.
Oh, I have a question.
Oh,
Will conference attendance be accepted if the virtual option to attend is included by default, e.g. in-person and virtual attendance are not separated?
I believe that will be fine. Dr. Bell, do you know? I mean, it's a virtual conference technically. Dr. Bell might be able to.
We'll get back to
Sorry,
that.
please say the question again. So it's asking.
The question
Well,
is,
do you wanna ask her?
will conference attendance be accepted if you had both a virtual option and an in person. Does that make sense? So say like this conference, hey, we have a virtual and in-person option. It's $200 or whatever, you know. We don't know exactly. I can ask and I can get back to you. I can send out a campus or a GSA email.
I'm gonna say yes, you know, if a conference is offering both, we definitely, you know, pay for the virtual. Usually the virtual is a different fee. But if there are, if there are concerns, you know, just, if you send that conference information to us, then we can look at it and give a little more information. Because it is gonna be kind of a little wonky this year with some things are virtual, some things aren't, and this is the fee for this, it's a lot. So if it's not clear, you send a link to us and we can look at it and try to figure it out to make sure that we're doing everything correct, okay? All right.
Okay, so the next thing is the Research Capstone Fund. This is an RCF. So essentially, we will fund $300 to spend on whatever you need to complete your research, okay? It is your research, not your advisor's research. I'm just gonna put that out there because sometimes, you know, advisors may be like, hey, we really need this. Just make sure it's purposeful for your research. Some departments, I just want to note, will pick up additional funding. So if you want something that is additional from $300, like you need a really cool microscope and it's $1,000, we could front $300 and your department sometimes will front the other $700, if that makes sense. You need to ask your department, don't just assume, okay? But students can also go in together to get more funding. So if 2 students went in together, you would get $600. If 3 students, $900. Does that make sense? Awesome. This is a reimbursement. This is a key part, okay? So only a purchase request will be sent to your department, meaning that instead of the receipt coming to us, right, it'll go to your department and then GSA will fund that. Does that make sense? So we will reimburse your department for whatever was spent. That's going to be something that you probably need to communicate with whoever your department budget manager is or whoever's finances in your department, because sometimes that gets a little wonky in there, okay? They will purchase it and then we will reimburse them. And then this item will belong to you, your lab and department, not you.
The initial purchase is made by the department.
Yes,
And then GSA reimburses the department.
yes, exactly, exactly.
Claire will be on that note. Claire will be talking to your departments. So really you just need to submit the application to her and then you contact them.
Oh, yeah. Everything, we give them like a thing and they actually end up ordering it. That's not on you, but it just sometimes helps to have since you know your department better than I do, sometimes it helps to have that advocacy from their own students.
So aren't all the, not the funding bodies, aren't all of them, like for the conferences that actually come back? Maybe you can say.
Yeah. So so that makes sense. That's great. So all things are reimbursement, but this is a reimbursement to your department. So your department will purchase this. The conference is usually a reimbursement to you yourself who applies for the conference fees.
Are there any limitations on what this covers?
As long as your advisor and you can justify it, then I will not question it. I am not a master of all the departments. I'm barely a master of kinesiology. So, you know, if you can justify it, then I think that as long as your advisor says it's okay, then we will be good.
There definitely are limitations. We've had students apply for furniture in the past and been denied. So it really depends. If you have a question about it, maybe email Claire before submitting the application. She can double check and let you know if it will be declined or not.
Yeah, and I know that there are some, like, obviously you have to be actually purchasing something physical, so you can't purchase like transcription software, stuff like that. Sometimes it's a little bit of a gray area because we don't know how to purchase that, if that makes sense. Yes, but we will talk all about this on October 14th, the day before. It'll be really long. You can ask as many questions as you want. All right. Perfect.
All right. Next up, we have Rose Ewald's presentation, and then Dr. Craig, I'm going to have you introduce yourself after. I know Rose has a time limit. So Rose, go ahead and take over screen sharing, and then I'll make sure everybody in person can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to speak to the Graduate Student Association. I do have a class at 5 o'clock, so I'm happy I can present. Unfortunately, I can't be there in person. So if you were here last year, then you know that Delta Alpha Pi was started last fall. We are an honor society that celebrates the academic accomplishments of students with disabilities, but I am not here to recruit. You're welcome to come to our meetings, but that's not why I'm here. Removing barriers to success was my idea because we participated in SOAR this summer for the first year and transfer students. We participated in the graduate student reception and the fall kickoff in August. And we realized that because orientation for graduate students is done by individual departments, we want to make sure that graduate students know this information. So there's two things you need to know. One, 27% of people in the US have a disability. That's 1 out of every 4 people. Look at the people in the room, look at the people on this call. 1 out of every 4 people has a disability. So the second thing you need to know is the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed in 1990. It's a civil rights law that guarantees equal access and equal opportunity for college students. Colleges and universities are required to provide accommodations to anyone who has a qualified disability. The ADA gave a legal definition of a disability and established the legal right to sue for discrimination. Before 1990, discrimination against people because they had a disability was legal and you could not sue. We're way behind the 1964 Civil Rights Act. So the definition of the disability, according to the ADA, is a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities, a history of having such an impairment, or being regarded as having such an impairment. And they give examples of major life activities: caring for yourself, performing manual tasks, seeing, hearing, eating, sleeping, walking, standing, lifting, bending, speaking, breathing. And then they give some that you might not think of: learning, reading, concentrating, thinking, communicating, and working. Those are some invisible conditions that you cannot tell by looking at a person if they have them. So that would include things like learning differences, like dyslexia, cognitive impairments, traumatic brain injury, neurosensory differences, including autism spectrum and Asperger's syndrome, inflammatory conditions like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, that's the gluten intolerance, or ulcerative colitis, diabetes, chronic migraines, neuromuscular conditions, environmental allergies, and any kind of mental health disorder or diagnosis like anxiety or depression, OCD, bipolar, or post-traumatic stress disorders. Many students with these conditions don't consider themselves disabled, but they meet the legal definition of a disability if it is a chronic condition that interferes with one or more major life activities on a regular basis. So they don't disclose, and they don't necessarily know that they may be eligible for accommodations. So what I want you to know is that if you or someone in graduate school has any of these kinds of conditions, they may be able to get accommodations for their comprehensive exams. That is something that I don't think most graduate students know, and that is such an important part of grad school. If you are dealing with a stress of a chronic condition that prevents you from being able to function like other people, you need to talk to ORS to see whether or not you qualify. ORS is the Office of Accessibility Resources and Services. They're in Suite 215 in the Elliott University Center. So one of our members in Delta Alpha Pi lobbied her department for a non-timed comprehensive exam, and they've agreed to make it possible for students with disabilities to do a portfolio instead of 4 papers that you have to write in a week. That'll be available starting next year. She's also a graduate teaching assistant, and one of her accommodations is remote teaching because she takes a drug that suppresses her immune system because of a medical condition. So if you're a graduate assistant with a disability, even if you don't need academic accommodations, you can request accommodations for your workplace: the chair, the desk, the computer, your keyboard. You request those through HR and make sure that they know that you need accommodations as a student employee, so they don't point you to ORS. They hear student and they say, oh, go to ORS. But if you're a student employee, you get your accommodations through HR. So Delta Alpha Pi is working to remove the stigma of disability. And one of the ways that we're doing that is by trying to spread the word that you have the right to get the accommodations that you need, but you have to ask for them. So we're happy to help lobby for anything that you need. Come and talk to us, go to ORS. I'll put my email in the chat. And thank you again for letting me talk to you about removing barriers to success, because I think this is a conversation that we don't have and we need to be having it. And I'm happy to take questions.
Hi, this is Heather Carl with the PhD program in business. I'm just wondering, the changes that you mentioned related to comp exam procedures and such, have the program coordinators been alerted to those options? For
The
grad-
graduate program directors.
Yeah,
I believe that Tina Byers from ORS has gone and spoken with the graduate program directors about what the law says and the kinds of accommodations that they should be considering providing. But each student has to advocate for what they need because each student has different needs for accommodations. ORS will help you advocate if you go to ORS first.
okay,
Yeah, but it's not supposed to just be up to the graduate program directors. It is something that if ORS says you have a qualified disability, the university is required to give you reasonable accommodations. And every student needs to decide for themselves what that looks like.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
We are unmuted now. Anybody in person have a question for Rose? You gave that good of a presentation, Rose. Thank you so much for
I know
coming
I rattled it
again.
off. I was talking fast, but feel free to follow up with us if you have any questions. It's uncg.dapi@gmail.com. That's our group email address. And we would be happy to talk with you about how we can support you. And thank
Awesome,
you for
thank
letting
you.
me come and talk. I really appreciate it. I think it's perfectly in alignment with your topic for today.
Of course, yes. Thank you so much for coming, Rose. Just so everybody knows, we are going to have ORS information links on our website soon. We are currently working on gathering all of that information in collaboration with Rose. So basically everything that she said, links and things you'll be able to find on our website soon. All right. Okay, I'm gonna jump back to Dr. Craig. Now she's able to come join our meeting. If you'd like to stand up here, Dr. Craig, the camera, yes.
Where is the camera?
It's back there.
Oh, I felt so goofy. So hello, everyone. I apologize for being late. I had to do an introduction at a new lecture series that's talking to students about our I Belong project and how important that is to student engagement and student success. So I do apologize for that. But my name is Dr. Adrienne Michelle Craig, and I am the Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. And so the Division of Student Affairs is a group of 12 different departments that focuses on student success, student engagement, and student support. And so the office that was just mentioned a second ago, ORS, that is a part of the Division of Student Affairs. We have offices like Activities and Programs, Dean of Students Office, Veterans Support Programs. Also, we have our health services, counseling, Office of Intercultural Engagement, so many different things regarding student engagement and support. And so I'm here as an advocate. We are here to support you. And if there are ever questions about anything that is not academic, feel free to ask me. If it's academic, you can go to the other advisor, Dr. Bell. So we are definitely here to be able to answer any questions. And we work as a team, and I'm enjoying being the co-advisor for GSA. And I also right now am the co-advisor for SGA, the Student Government Association. So I can also answer questions about what the undergraduates are doing. But I'm really happy to see you all here. I know that we were working hard to get ready for this meeting, and I walked in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a good crowd. So thank you guys for coming. And if I'm ever able to help you, please let me know. So thank you.
There we go. All right, yeah, we are very lucky in GSA to have both representation from the graduate school and student affairs. Those are both really big hubs at UNCG. So if you have any questions, we usually filter them through the executive board. And then if we need to, we bring them to the advisors and above. All right, jumping into the programming schedule. This is the information everybody wanted to know, right? Not your money, Claire, no, programming, yeah. So the only mandatory meeting that GSA hosts is this. This is the assembly meeting, okay? So every month, second Thursday of the month, same time, same room, 4 to 5 p.m. right here. That is the only meeting that senators are required to come to. Graduate students are very highly encouraged to come. You see how many people we have today. So I guess we don't want to encourage too many more people to come. We'll run out of chairs. And you can always attend virtually as well. This giveaway is the only thing that we're doing for the first meeting. That's not going to be a normal thing. So if you want to attend virtually later on, feel free to do that. But that is the only mandatory meeting for senators. Everything else is completely up to you. Our second monthly event that we have is Come Talk with GSA. You heard Nagla mention it a little bit earlier. This is something that we started last year and we did virtually throughout the year. We had pretty great attendance with that. Last year, we structured it a little bit differently. So if you ever came to one of those events, it will look different this year. Obviously, it will be in person and virtual, so a little bit of hybrid. This is going to be hosted on the fourth Thursday of every month in this room, same time. So just think Thursdays 4 to 5, that's your GSA time, okay? So second Thursday of the month, assembly meeting, fourth Thursday of the month, Come Talk with GSA. So our first one this year is going to be in 2 weeks from now, September 23rd from 4 to 5. The first 40 minutes, this is new again, so we're trying it out. You can also give us feedback, let us know what you think. The first 40 minutes of that hour, we are going to do 4 10-minute presentations from graduate students. These presentations could be about your research if you want to share that, about a hobby that you like. If you're like the best cookie maker in town and you want to show everybody how you do that, you can present about that. Yeah, that we won't eat in the room. So we can't eat it in the room. But really anything that you're passionate about that you think could benefit other graduate students. So whether this be a hobby, you could do your own professional development lecture if you have some type of skill you would like to share with people. We really had the idea of starting this with research presentations. In my own department, we do research presentations all the time. So I was like, I don't really want to start another event for that, but we can do presentations about anything. So anything that you think is interesting, this is your time to share it with other graduate students. And this is really just a great chill time for us to all get to know each other, talk. And this is also a good time for you to bring your questions and concerns to the e-board. So the first 40 minutes will be presentations, 10-minute presentations. So think 5 to 8 minutes, you're actually giving information, leaving time for questions and discussion. And then the last 20 minutes of that hour will just be chatting, hanging out, maybe talking about the presentations, talking about things we want to change at the university level or within GSA. It's really open to what we want to do that month. There might be some experts that we invite to these Come Talk with GSAs. It just depends if we need more professional development or not. So if you're feeling that, please let us know. If you want to present in 2 weeks at this month's Come Talk with GSA, come talk to us after the meeting and we'll get you signed up for that, okay? Okay, so other social events that we have going on, we are going to try to do a Halloween party. I still have to get that approved. So hopefully we will be able to do an in-person Halloween party. The tentative date for that would be Saturday, October 30th. Halloween is on a Sunday this year, the 31st. So we would do it that Saturday night. Normally, if we flash back a couple of years pre-COVID, this was a banger. It was a very big party. It was super fun. We've done it at Spare Time before. If you've ever been out there to do bowling, we had laser tag, arcade games, free food, costume contests, and we don't mess around with prizes. We gave out really good prizes for the costume contest. It was a lot of fun if you were there 2 years ago. So hopefully we can replicate something like that, obviously with a little bit of limitations. So just look forward to that. If you're interested in being in the programming committee, that will be our very first task, is to plan that. So also if you're interested in being in one of our committees, please stop and talk to us after the meeting today. The Graduate Student Appreciation Week, I missed Grab Grub. Grab Grub with GSA is something we also started last year. This was to promote Black-owned businesses in Greensboro, so also promoting local restaurants. And what we did last year, we did one in restaurant and one food truck. We're gonna have to stick with food trucks this year. We just give free meals away to graduate students. It's very fun. You come to the food truck, pick out your meal, it's all free to you. We're gonna try to do one of those for each semester this year. So look forward to that. And the Graduate Student Appreciation Week is always held in the first week of April. Go ahead and mark that off on your calendars right now. That will be a full schedule of fun events, professional development, free giveaways, basically anything that you can think of, and also a programming committee. That will be a really big one for us. So we do one big social event in the fall, that's our Halloween party, and then we'll do one big social event during GSA, which is the Graduate Student Appreciation Week in April of the spring semester. For professional development, we are planning to do 1 day of professional headshots a semester. If you were involved last year during GSA, we did 2 days of professional headshots. They turned out great. People loved them. This was a professional photographer that came, took the pictures, edited it for you, and then sent it to you. We're planning to stick with the same professional photographer. Hopefully he would be able to come back again. So 1 day, he can usually fit in 50 students. So that's like 50 students per semester would have that opportunity of getting a professional headshot done. Monthly Come Talk with GSAs, that's under professional development because you can talk about research or present professional development in that meeting. And then we will have seminars and workshops throughout the semesters as we can and as we have time for those. Some examples of workshops and seminars we're hoping to host is student loans, like how to pay those back, how to get them consolidated. I feel like all of us are a little bit drowning in student debt. We don't know how to pay it or when we're going to have to pay it. So that would be a really great workshop. External funding, how to apply for that, job applications. We did one on salary negotiation last year. That was a really great one. Teaching philosophy. So during GSA last semester, we had a ton of great professional development workshops. They were all recorded and you can find every single one of them on our YouTube channel, including all of these meetings are recorded and on our YouTube channel. So if you would like, it's go uncg.edu/GSA YouTube, or you can just search UNCG GSA on YouTube and you'll find us right away. So after this meeting, once we get the recording, we'll upload it onto our YouTube channel. So if you ever miss a meeting, that's how you would make it up after you let Alexander know. All right, committee appointments and signups. This is what we were talking about, lists of GSA committees and university-wide committees. Nagla's going to run through those with you.
Thank you, Lexi. How are you? I'm hungry. How are you? So good seeing you. So good seeing you, Mary. Mary, how are you? Are you tired, sleepy, hungry? Madame la Présidente, qu'est-ce que ça? We know it's a long day. This part about the committees is very interesting. You know why? This is the way we make change on this campus. Because if we want to advocate for academic relief policy, we have to go to the graduate council. Oh, thank you, Alex. I am undiagnosed ADHD, I think. I think, Dr. Craig, I have to go back. I like to move, Rose. I like to move. You had a great presentation. So committees. We have campus-wide committees. They are different. Their mandate is different. We try very hard to have graduate student representations in any committee we are invited to, because this is the way we advocate for resources, funding, academic relief policy. Our voices really last year reshaped a lot of things in UNCG during the pandemic. So those committees are really important. And you guys, when you volunteer in one of those committees, you have an important role to play. And we always try to coach you guys. Mervi was representing us with the Student Government Association. She was an amazing representative, but she's always coming back to us and saying, Nagla, what are our priorities as graduate students to raise it in SGA? Because we can bring money from them. We can work collaboratively with them to serve all the students. So I will go through with you regarding the different committees. Please think, if you want to volunteer, that you will make a change by being there, by knowing what to advocate for, by working with the GSA e-board to push our agenda and make the graduate student voices heard. So Alex touched on the faculty senate. Faculty senate, all faculty representatives, I don't remember Dr. Bill the number, they come together to speak about faculty and how our faculty could be supported to serve us. So me and Alex this year are representing you in the faculty senate. But definitely, as Alex indicated, we would love to have volunteers, maybe to replace us, because sometimes it's too busy to be there. So please, if you feel that you have a perspective, you have an experience, or even if you are willing to be the voice of graduate students. We will be there to coach you and tell you exactly, here are our priorities, or share with you strategies to enforce your agendas. Last year, me and Lexi were in the Graduate Council. We really prepared on how to push for adopting the academic relief policy. So it has a learning, it has an effort. We are there to support you in whatever committee, guys, you want to go in. The Student Government Association is a very important spot, and we are lucky. Dr. Craig is our advisor and also the advisor for SGA. SGA is the representative for all the students. They represent us too. We need to work with them. We need to know what are their priorities. We need to bring graduate student concerns into their agendas. So we usually have two graduate senators in SGA. It's a lot of time commitment. They used to meet at 7 p.m. But definitely we have to know when they meet, how long the meetings are.
They aren't very long. I'm not even gonna lie to you. They start there every Tuesday at 7. I just block 7 to 10. Some days the Lord blesses me and I'm out of there by 8. But most days I'm not that lucky. But one of the things that Nagla mentioned was the academic relief last year with COVID. There's an amazing example of how GSA and SGA work together. If you all had the opportunity to hear how Austin, who was the president last year, and Nagla were able to advocate at that meeting, and it was like, wow, because they had met, they were on the same accord, and it just shows how the students were able to really advocate for change. And that's a great example of the advocacy and working together with that.
I remember Dr. Craig Mervy said, Nagla, undergraduates are different. They have a different perspective. I said, yes, Mervy, I see your point. But I think it is amazing how we learn from each other. It is amazing. I learned a lot from Austin as an undergrad, and I was willing to reach out to him and say, Austin, I have an idea. Austin, can you come meet the graduate students? Because he is our voice. So we have to think of those committees are our place to push for a change, to bring resources, to bring money, or to bring policies that will be supportive for us. This year, we have the Sustainability Committee, Megan D'Amico, a wonderful, I don't know if she is on the call or no. She is the best of the best students in biology department. Megan is an amazing policy advocate, and she's always volunteering. And luckily, she filled the spot for the Sustainability Committee. I can reflect a lot on what they do, but if Lexi, if you have some brief ideas about Sustainability Committee, that would be great for you to share.
Anything related to sustainability on campus, but also the green funds, they're in charge of, if you've heard of the green funds before. Megan would be a good person, her email's up there to reach out to. You can also just Google Sustainability Committee at UNCG and you can see their entire roster and when they meet and things like that.
Appreciated, Lexi. Academic Policies and Regulation Committee. This committee is focused on undergraduate policies. So Reem may ask me, Nadia, what should we do in this committee? Undergraduate policies, they are so important. They are the ones who put the class schedule or the semester schedule. They are the one to decide this is a mental health day. They are the one who canceled the break, the fall break. So having a graduate student, even what happened, I was in this committee and it came to my mind that they never talked about academic relief policy for undergraduate or graduate students. And because I was in this committee, I said, no, we need academic relief policy. I will advocate for graduate students to have this policy. The pass or fail, it is so important. So this committee, despite focus on undergraduates, but it is in general policies that will touch us all. It seems complicated, but it's such an important place for you guys to be. Miss Claire, the money person, she is very generous, very, very generous and very kind. She is representing us in the intercollegiate athletics. Can you, Claire, touch on briefly what you do in this committee?
Yes, of course. So we had our first meeting last week, and it's basically just talking about athletic policies and things that happen with intercollegiate athletics. So I think right now the biggest focus is that, athletes now can represent their likeness. So that'll be a big thing with UNCG.
Yeah, appreciate it, Claire. Thank you. Graduate Council. I am there with a wonderful student from counseling department, Kervins. We are there. Graduate Council is our place to push for policies. And curriculum changes, and advocate for anything related to graduate students. I am there in the policy committee. Whenever you guys have a concern, reach out to me. Say, Nagla, raise this in the graduate council. This is important for us. We need to change this. And last, spaces and places, our wonderful representative last year and this year is Christelle Barakat. We need somebody to be with her. Those are the wonderful people looking at the spaces and how to improve them and make them more maybe enjoyable or better. You have to correct me, Christelle. And accessibility, as Rose, accessibility is here. We are always advocating. So please, if you want to volunteer, we will be there to guide you. If you have no information, it is okay. We will be there to teach you. This is the committee and how to push our agendas. We have to push our agendas. Thank you.
Thank you, Nagla. Yeah, so it is almost 5 o'clock. Of course, it was our first meeting, so we're working out the kinks in our agenda, our schedules here. But if you have to leave at 5, please go ahead and do so. We completely understand. We only have one more topic, and that's the senator responsibilities, and then that is it. So I can breeze through that very quickly. So this is what we talked about last week. Within GSA, senators attend assembly meetings, keep open communication between the GSA and their own department. You can do that by surveying your graduate students that you represent. You advise GSA, advertise GSA meetings and events. So really follow us on social media, repost that, put it on your billboards and your department, get that information out for any of our social events, professional development, or meetings we have. You need to participate in GSA committees, whether that is a committee within GSA or a university-wide committee. And you can present that information at assembly meetings so that you don't always have to just hear from us 4. That would be great, huh? And inform and give advice to the e-board on all matters. So you are really those representations from across campus. You bring all of that information back here to one place so that we can utilize that. Within your departments, this is really up to you how much work you want to do within your department. Really, you have the power being a GSA senator or just a student. Being a student, you have the power to do these things. You can survey your graduate students, get that listserv from your graduate program director, your GPD. Send out a quick survey to the graduate students to ask them, what social events do you want within our department? Professional development, issues, concerns, suggestions. You are their go-to person for new students, for returning students. So really they should be able to come to you. You can create fun events within your department if you have that capacity to do that. I know we did professional development in our department and social events, and people voted on what they wanted to do. So here is I don't know if you want to take a picture of this slide, write down which ones kind of resonate with you. These are just examples. When I was a senator 2 years ago with my fellow Senator Anna, we accomplished all of these things in our department, the biology department. These are just examples, they're ideas. Maybe they'll give you an idea of something that you would like to change within your own department. I'm not going to walk through all of these. We did change the GIA training. If you're not familiar, GIA is the old TA. So graduate instructional assistant instead of teaching assistant now, making checklists for new students so they know better what they're doing when they come in. Really anything. You were new students at one time, right? So you came in and you were like, wow, these 5 things are really confusing. Fix it. Make a list. Send it to new students before they come. Put deadlines on it so they know when they have to get keys by. Really any of those things you're like, that could have gone smoother. That can be your job to try to smooth that over, or at least start the conversation within your own department. If anybody would like to come talk to us about any of these topics after the meeting, we will be here until 5:30. And this is also on the recording. So if you want to see the slide again, you can go to our YouTube channel and see that. But with that, we will do the Q&A after the meeting. And we will adjourn. I hope to see you at our Come Talk with GSA in 2 weeks. If not, we will see you a month from today. Thank you so much for coming.